Welcome back to the Independent Republic of Mike Graham right here on talkTV. Now, one or two things to establish before we carry on and before we take your calls, and it is to wit the heatwave, of course, because as we get updated from what is going on around the country, and I'd like to have you continue to contribute to that so that we know what's going on. It turns out that Network Rail, the people that run the railways in this country, have got a piece of advice for you. It isn't to carry water with you wherever you go. It isn't to wear loose-fitting clothing. It isn't to beware that some trains might not be running and that you might need to leave a bit more time for your journey. It isn't to be careful while walking through the station that you manage to stay to the left. It isn't that when you're going down an escalator, make sure you don't trip over. It isn't any of the normal warnings that they give you. This one in particular is the doomsday warning, right? And this is from Network Rail. Their advice is, do not travel. So, forget about what happens in India, forget about what happens in Spain, in Italy, forget about what happens even in Germany, where it gets very hot, in the United States of America, where I've frequently travelled on trains. And I'm not buying this rubbish that, you know, the railways are only good up to 35 degrees centigrade, and they somehow won't work when it gets higher than that. This is their logic for closing down the East Coast main line. That is the line that goes from London all the way up to Edinburgh, right? Going through Durham, going up the east coast of this country, going through Yorkshire, going up to Leeds, to Sheffield, all of those places. But here's something rather puzzling, because while they've shut that line down, it turns out you can still get a train to Sheffield from London. So clearly the lines are not breaking up, they're not melting, they're not falling into the sea, they're not making it impossible for anybody to go on them. You can still get a train to Sheffield. So why can't you get a train to Edinburgh? And why can you still get a train to Paris when you can't get one to Scotland? It seems a bit weird, doesn't it? It can only be concluded, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, by the likes of me, that the people who run the railways in this country are nothing short of useless, incompetent buffoons who could not run what can only be described as a party in a brewery. It's time for some clear-outs, isn't it? Clear out Network Rail, find some people who know how to run a railway company, clear out whoever it is that wants to go on strike because they don't think they're getting enough money for driving the crappy trains in the first place. Let's start all over again, shall we? I mean, Tom Tugendhat wanted a clean start. Why can't we get one? In every single aspect of what we get wrong. It's not difficult.